Salutations. Hello, everybody out there in the world. This is Perspectives. I am one of your hosts, Littyyy Flacko. My co-host is right here to my side, Holden Stephan Roy. Holden, say hi, Holden.
Hi, Holden.
What up? What up?
And today we got a guest, a prolific MC.
Man.
What do you call that? That people of the pillar of the community, right? Like that. Like
Absolutely.
Right now, literally, he's the reason that we're a little tardy is because the man was literally at
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You were at a fundraiser, was it? Or community?
The Technique, Immortal Tech, he has this program, nonprofit, called the Rebel Army Runs, where since the pandemic has started, we've literally been taking food and supplies to the elderly in New York City housing. So
Yes.
Right now, we are literally packing up this van right here with stuff, and I saw the message. I was like, oh, because we're a little behind schedule, so that's literally what I'm doing. We just we just came from Jetro. Got a whole bunch of supplies and stuff. We're about to hit Isaac houses tomorrow on the east side. Give out to the elderly. Give these people, because people can't get around. People don't have. People scared to come out because you know what's going on in the streets, bro. So
Yes.
So we just trying to get it to them. Literally just trying to get it to them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was doing. So pardon my lateness, people. Pardon my lateness.
Like look at what we gonna say to that? You know what I mean?
I'm
like
sorry.
we say something
busy,
fucked up, like we're pieces of shit till we say something bad about this. Like this is
my dog didn't eat the homework. It wasn't that my dog ate the homework.
Your dog didn't eat the homework. You know what I mean?
Word.
Like this is like literally the most noble reason to be late. You know, like you were literally being a man of the people and like helping the community. You know what I mean? Like
not just like, the community, the elderly who need care.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, there's something that Holden
actually near
and dear to his heart. Like
Shouts to Immortal Tech, yo, on that one.
Yeah.
It's big though. It's an amazing thing.
Nah, we'll get to all that. So we have Goodtime Slim here with us. Word.
It is I.
Word. Usually the way we start the show is like I give everybody like a rundown of like how we got the show started. But like, I'm gonna try to give you an abbreviated version, like suffice it to say that like I met Holden on like the Humble, right? Doing promo on the last album. And like dude is just a really great interviewer, you know what I mean? And like after doing an interview with him, I was just like, yo, typical hood motherfucker. I'm like, you get up on some cool shit, you're gonna put on all your friends and shit.
Word.
Yo, you know what? We should do like a interview series where like I bring like the homies to the table and like you talk to them, you know what I'm saying? And so like usually he has his like own set of like questions that he has like ready to go, but like I've been asking everybody like off the bat like to introduce yourself to the people formally and like tell us where you from and where your parents are from.
All right. Well, I'm Goodtime Slim. I am from Brooklyn, New York City. My parents are from Brooklyn, New York City. A lot of my family is from Brooklyn, New York City. I'm a New Yorker. I've never left the state, never left the city. I've been here my whole life. So Dutch, you know how we do, bro. Like
I already know. I'm a New Yorker for life, so I feel you.
For life. And I'm not one of those that's thinking about leaving because it's tough out here. Nah, yo, this is the city is my life force, bro. I can never leave this city. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I am.
That talk. I talk this talk very often, and I don't think people really understand. Like, but you know what's even more beautiful? I think is when you travel and you've traveled other places, right?
Yes,
and and you can speak from like a real like, yo, this is like, yeah, I've been to other places, like, and I love going other places, but I need to live here because this is what sustains me and keeps me going. This is my fuel to my tank.
Facts.
Like certain
Facts.
cars can only take unleaded, and like this is my unleaded. You know, like
Facts.
I need that New York City gas. You know, like
and you know, for years you've always heard, oh, this place is like NY, that place is like NY, that place is like NY, and then you get to that place and it's not like NY.
Not like New York. It's not like New
Not
York.
like-
It's never like New York. People are
And that's
always
not
like,
a
yo, it's
slight.
like New York. And it's
That's
not.
not a
It's
slight.
not. It's
Not
its
a
own
slight.
beautiful city. That it's
Yeah.
like, yo, this is dope for this reason and that reason. I think you were pitching me wrong here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
let
let me help you improve your pitch on your city. You know,
I will
like,
say this: if you were born here, the appreciation isn't attained until, like you say, until you travel elsewhere. And you used to waking up at 2:45 in the morning. Yo, I need to go outside and grab something. I'm hungry, thirsty, or I want da 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 da. I want to go. Like you can't wait. You can't wake up at midnight, get dressed at 2:00, and leave out at 2:30 and have fun anywhere else. Like
no. You can't do
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
Everywhere else, you gotta leave by like a certain time because you know that the party is gonna be over like around 2
that time.
in the morning.
1:00.
So, like,
Actually, let's keep it real.
yeah.
1:00. Everything shut
A
down
lot
1:00
of places,
everywhere
yeah.
else. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. To have a 1:00 shit. Yeah, I'm in Montreal. It's 3:00, so it's like, okay, 1:00 sounds super fucking early. I couldn't have fathom a night like that.
Yeah, even when I got to Montreal, like I felt a little right. Like I was like, oh, because we just so happened to have a screwed up situation because of the weather. So we got in really later than we were supposed to. And when I got there and like we were like 2:00 in the morning, we were so happy to be able to get some food delivered to us because everything was so close. You know what I mean? Like,
it's pretty bad on that
it's
front.
like-
I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to cycle around to find a fucking store open at 10:45 yesterday p.m. I'm like, yo, especially because of COVID, like fuck, everything closes earlier now.
Yo,
So, like,
COVID done do the extra blanket on things, yo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so we established. So now you did
With
this,
all
but
that.
that's why I asked that, right? Because like Brooklyn, like you're generational Brooklyn, so that's
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
super important
That's
for the
beautiful.
first like opening get you to talk question, which is
Let's go.
it's a bit of a story, and when it lands, we run with it at that point. And it all starts with my girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes one time, and she's got her phone sitting there, and it's playing that Black Eyed Peas song, the I got a feeling, ooh. She's vibing, right? And she's dancing, and she's washing the dishes and shit. And I'm looking at her, and I'm going, yo, when the fuck did this song become dishes music? Like, it's the fucking chores music now, right? It's that shit you put on when you're working out and doing cardio and crap, and you're trying to get back to, like, a happier place in your life type thing. Because if you think about that track, 10 years ago, that is the highlight of the night song. Everybody's having a wonderful time, super drunk, trying to meet people, blah, 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 etc. But, like, 10 years goes by, the song doesn't change at all. But now it's everybody's chores music and exercise music and all this shit. And I was like, that's super nifty how as we get older, the context that surrounds this song can change so much that the song doesn't change in any way. But we treat the song so very differently because of how our lives have changed. And as I asked this question, you start thinking like, yo, imagine all them little 20-year-olds and how they have no idea that in 10 years the Cardi B's and whatnot is their chores music. But then you realize all that modern day club music is still like your chores music today if you're at that right age, right? Because you still want to get that groove on, even if it's a new song or whatever. All that to say, like, music and the context and our relationship with it, it's on this journey that's always kind of evolving and like growing over time. And it got me thinking a lot about like our musical journeys as like artists and whatnot, and how most of the time when we talk about them or think about them, we all start with this, I got into hip hop at this time, where it's like, sure, yes, or like, I'm an adolescent, I like these things, but that's not really like the beginning of a person's musical journey, right? You've
not
been
at all.
hearing music since the minute you're probably born. Even there might have been music in the hospital playing type thing. Like I can remember being 4 or 5 years old. I have no fucking control over anything. My dad's got these gray boxes, the fucking amplifier, the radios, the tape deck with the fucking wires going everywhere to these speakers all around and shit. It's busting Led Zeppelin tapes. And at like nighttime, I can remember the 1990s dance music straight from the clubs of Montreal pumping through the apartment type thing. At Christmas time, we've got this one tape, and it's these EDM remixes to fucking Christmas songs, and that was like present opening music. And so you got all these songs and all these different sounds and shit that kind of make up this like soundscape to your existence when you're young. These different vibes based on who's around and what's around and the tech and all this other stuff. So I was hoping that you could bring us all the way back to the youngest Goodtime Slim you can remember being, and tell us a little bit, especially because we ain't from Brooklyn everywhere. You guys might be. We ain't from this part of town. I'm from Montreal and shit. What it was like to sounds like, and the experiences of being a super young one coming up in Brooklyn like that.
All right, that's something that I actually go back into my memory tunnel often and think about. When I was growing up, soul music was the thing. So you talking about like early mid 80s, soul music was the thing, right? Because all our elders were teenagers and young men and women in the 70s. So that's the music that they brought into us. One of my earliest memories of music that influenced me, and this is crazy because I think about this very often, is my mom, when she was alive, her getting ready for work would be the clock radio playing on BLS, WBLS. That's one of the biggest R&B stations in New York City to this day still. You know what I'm saying? So it would be certain, they only play adult contemporary R&B. You know what I'm saying? So those songs that I would just be getting ready to while she was getting ready for work, I'm getting ready for school, those songs that she would listen to that I had no control over. Like you said, you don't got no control when you're a kid. You just got to listen to what they listening to, you watching what they watching, and you going where they going. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? So those are the songs in my adulthood that I want to hear right now. And I'm an MC. I love hip hop to my core. I don't want to listen to rap though. In my spare time, I listen to that music that I grew up listening to. So that also affected my content. Like the stuff that I rap about is the stuff that the old souls was singing about. I rap about that kind of stuff because that's all I know. That's all I feel. Like I never had a problem finding content. I never had a problem finding content to talk about because the music that I listened to always was very deep. Like adult contemporary music is all breaking up, getting back together, who you love, who you lost, decisions, perspective on life. That's all that kind of music is. So that's why my music and my genre that I'm in, it reflects that. And that's all from upbringing. I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 years old.
That's amazing. That's cool, because that's kind of like why we asked the question a little bit. But the other half of why we asked the question is to get some good stories of you being 6 years old up in Brooklyn and what it's like growing up there, right?
Exactly.
Yo, Flacko, I was in Brownsville, I was in Van Dyke Projects at that time, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was in Brownsville.
Let me be clear. I do not know what you're saying. Do not know.
Exactly, yeah. That's something that we've discovered in this, but that's what's good, right? Is like that's what we doing is like we documenting like our lives, right? Like that's why I fuck with Holden, right? Because he talks to me about shit that I'm like, man, why the fuck all the interviews I do as a rapper are like based around like the shit that like got me into hip hop. Rapping, what my present rapping shit is. Like, let's talk about like my life growing up. That's dope.
Right. How it
that's
happened.
something that exactly. And that's what like I've been enjoying. Like I didn't know when we did the interview with Penn, I was like, and Penn like told me that he got like an aunt that like used to sing and had like a record. I'm like,
oh yeah,
what?
Big time. Yeah,
like but that's cool to me because I don't like it's like I'm getting to know my friends even better, right? But and then like there's something that's even like crazier that like we've noticed is like the nah mean, where it's like we nah mean, Holden don't nah mean, you know what I mean? But that's good because now we get to explain our shit to people And like, instead of it being like some shit that you look up online and it's some bullshit like that's not really the accuracy, like you could explain what growing up in your part of Brooklyn really was like. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like,
All right, Holden. We're gonna get you on. We're gonna get you meaning by the time this is over.
I love it. It's mad helpful, but it's like, cause like I find like the thing is like a lot of people are fascinated by New York, but when you actually try to Google this shit, like on the real, man, there's nothing harder than trying to find authenticity in the Googles.
Man, listen, they don't talk about the real New York. They don't speak about it. I'm gonna keep that real. They don't speak about the real New York because the real New York isn't profitable. You understand? The real New York is, of course, is about the dream being here. The whole time here, you are dreaming about attaining while you're here. But the real New York is about the beauty of the struggle. And I'm not being cliche when I say this kind of shit. It's the beauty of the struggle. I made it through that. So when I mentioned my neighborhood growing up, anybody that know about Mike Tyson, world heavyweight champion, he's from Brownsville. The neighborhood that they always talk about, Mike Tyson is from, that's where I grew up at the exact same time. I was there with him, not with him, but I was there in the area with him. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up in, which was in New York, it's the South Bronx or it's Brownsville. Those is like the worst spots historically. You know what I'm saying? I was there during the crack era, which is one of the worst eras to have been in New York City.
Yeah.
So it was rough. It was definitely rough. So, but I made it from that. So making it from that, I'm good, yo. You can't tell me nothing. I made it out of there.
Yeah. That's why now when I see people like watching like quarantine COVID news and they're talking to us like we're some like we're a third world country. I'm like, yo, this is New York City. Like,
we've been
through
this already. We've been through different quarantines. We've been through worse, yo.
It's just one of those things where it's just like being through the crack era makes me feel very much so like I've been through the worst. So like 9/11 and blackouts and COVID are just like, these are just small hiccups. Like, I remember like growing up and like there being like crackheads on like your building front stoop. And like in like depending on the size of your building that you lived in, they might be in your building. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember this shit being really fucked up and bad. Like, New Jack City wasn't like a fictional when they showed
that wasn't an exaggeration.
Like when they depicted crack vials and like the different color tops in the school in the playground, in the kids' playground. That's not a fictionalization. I remember being a child in child parks and there being crack vials everywhere. You know what I mean? Right. So like coming from that, to echo what you're saying, Slim, like I feel the same way where it's just like, I don't feel like this COVID thing was that bad at all. Like if anything, I feel like very happy about all the people who are posers and aren't from here and they immediately left. Because they bounced immediately, like, oh my God, it's not safe. This is gonna be ground zero for the zombie apocalypse and shit. Right, it's like, good, bye, bitch. You don't belong here. You never belonged here. You shouldn't have never moved here.
Real New Yorkers ain't trying
where the fuck you come from, you know? Right. And so like
it ain't for everybody.
Yeah, it's not. It's rough, but like that roughness. You know, that's why you have
we're battle tested. We're very battle tested.
You got beautiful statements like a rose out of concrete. You're not going to get that right. You know, you don't get that saying in a place not like New York City. You can only get that in New York City. I
agree. I agree. It's very unique to our position. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
In this case, I do know what you mean. Yes. But no, what's crazy is how every like local like every region has their own. Nah, I mean, in Canada it's A, so like just we all got our shits. But like,
I was watching ESTG interview on the Breakfast Club, and like you could tell he you know, like he fresh out them streets. You know what I'm saying? And he just he not from New York City, so I think he's from. I don't know where he's from. But like he kept on saying, "You feel me?" I think he's from the South. He should because he signed to Yo Gotti. So he kept on saying,
like
"You
the dirty,
feel
dirty.
me? You feel me?" And like at the end of every sentence was like, "You feel me? You feel me? You feel me?" And I was like, "You feel me?" Is the Southern nah mean? Like that is the Southern nah mean right there. Like that's a, you feel me? Like you dig.
So but also just to ask, like, while you're young, right? Because some people got some wild stories, not like in a crack vial kind of sense, but more in were you interested in stuff like singing and belting out little show tunes, choreographed and all that alongside your wonderful epics when you was a little one? Because that sounds like the type of shit people do when they up on that kind of stuff.
Me, actually, I was into the stars, bro. I wanted a telescope before I did any of this shit. I used to find when I was living way back when I was living in Van Dyke, I was on one of the higher floors, so I was able to see an unobstructed view of the sky at night. So I would always try to find like Orion's belt and like Big Dipper and all that type of shit. So I wanted to be some astronomy and astrologist. You know what I'm saying? I was on that. So, and I was an only child growing up. And like my grandmother,
you learn about your friends.
There you go. Yeah,
the only child.
Son, no, not now. Growing up, I was by myself for 10 years before my first brother. I was 10 years old before my first brother. So that was a culture shock in its own. I ain't the only one in this. You know what I'm saying? So my grandmother, she was a soldier. She ain't believe in that nonsense. I used to read the Britannica encyclopedias. Remember them joints?
Yeah,
like the whole set.
Yes.
That's where I started. Like, all right, let me find where these stars are. And I used to dead ass be in the back of my building, stargazing out the window, trying to find shit. So I was into that. Yo, music ain't come till Crush Groove. That's when music came. I seen that. I was like, oh, what's this? It's time to do something different.
Great question. What is Crush Groove?
Oh my God, Holden.
Yo, I learned about Holden too as we go through this journey because I didn't know he never seen Crush Groove. Now that's kind of like
I'll say I'm 33, right? Like there's gonna be like
okay,
and
it's cool.
Another country.
It's cool. It's cool.
And in another country. Facts.
So you know who Russell Simmons is, right?
Yes.
The founder of Def Jam.
Yeah.
All right, Crush Groove is basically his life story. Loosely based on his life story. Loosely based.
At that time. So like at that time, he was just establishing Def Jam Records and putting out like the Beastie Boys and LL Cool J and shit like that. Run DMC. So like it's like documenting that shit, that journey. Loosely, and then those actual rappers are in it. So like
was that our first big movie that had rap? I know we had Beat Street and Electric.
Yeah, no, as soon as I said it, I said to myself, like, as soon as you said that, I'm like thinking to myself, like, yo, let me find out that this is like the first hip hop biopic, technically speaking. Because like
thinking about it
it really is like Russell's life up until that, or at that point. Like it documented him establishing like the first hip hop record label. And
it's the origin story. There you go. It's the origin story.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So that might be like the first hip hop biopic.
Yeah. We might have to do some research on that. Check that out. We might have to fact check that.
I never thought about it
before,
but I also never knew about that movie, so
bro,
that's education right there.
You gotta catch some scenes. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, which I would suggest.
Man, this sounds riveting.
Catch some scenes from it. It's dope, bro.
This is right up my alley. I really like the biopic. I really like watching this story shit. Like to me, it's just. Well, I mean, in a sense, we're trying to go run through your life. This is like a bootleg biopic.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is exactly what we try to do here. Yeah,
there you go.
A bootleg biopic.
There you go.
Like I think that this is what I look at it as is like everybody's pitch for like a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is my life. And if you find it interesting, let's make it into a movie.
Yeah,
let's make it into a movie. Like let's do something.
And it is stuff like you being like, I used to stargaze, motherfucker. busted out the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Nobody
fucking stared at.
I talked about the Encyclopedia Britannica as well, because that's what I used to get as a punishment. My father used to make me be like, take away your comic books, take away your baseball cards, whatever you love, you love when you're punished, you taking that away, and part of your punishment is like, read that goddamn Encyclopedia Britannica that I bought you. That shit gonna teach you something.
And
it's
bro,
just
you
like
you retain a lot of that shit.
And then
too.
you do, because that's the reason that. So what I would do, right, is like a comic book reader, right? I'd be like, all right, so I'm gonna look up Cyclops from the X-Men and like Thor and like Hercules, and like I'm gonna look up all the stuff from comic books. But I'm like, what is a fucking Wolverine? When I'm like a 8-year-old kid. I'm like, what the fuck's a Wolverine? I don't even know what the fuck a Wolverine is.
Like,
I live in the Bronx.
This don't look nothing like Logan. This don't look like Logan.
This don't look nothing like. By the way, when I looked up a Wolverine, I was like, why? I don't get it. I really don't understand what's going on here. But whatever, comic books, comic books, you know. But like, that's what I would do with the Encyclopedia Britannica, right? But and that was joke. But like stargazing, like nobody's talked about on that show yet.
Not
on
one person.
And we've talked to a lot of people already. You know what I mean? Like we've been doing this for like 6-7 months now.
Nah, even that. I talked to over 100 people across everything I do. Now one person has talked about damn stargazing, and it was like one of those. Say word, that's real. Like you did that. That's so cool.
I still do it. I still do it to this day.
That's
I still
amazing,
do it. If I can find a clear night, and you know it's hard in the city. It's like it ain't too many like dark areas. Like, but I'll go to like Prospect Park or Central Park or some shit like that, and you'll find a dark spot, and it's crazy. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
I love it, man. I mean, I kind of can. I know I've left Montreal and stared at the sky, because Montreal, unfortunately, is not good for the sky like that. But when you do see it, it's beautiful. I always wanted a telescope when I was a kid, so to me, it's fucking cool. I
will have a high-powered telescope before I'm done. Before I'm done and I leave this plane of existence, I'm gonna get me one of those crazy electronic joints with the whole fucking Milky Way map in it. I'm just gonna be in my backyard in the tent, just going in, yo. Word up.
So my girlfriend is suggesting that you read the book The End of the Night by Paul Bogart, as she thinks you'll love it.
The End of the Night, Paul Bogart. The End of the Night, Paul Bogart.
I got you. I'm gonna screenshot it and I'm gonna send it to you once.
Please do. Please do that.
I got you.
Please do that.
But that's seriously like super nifty still. So you were saying though you got the Crush Groove, and that kind of like introduced you a bit more into the hip hop sphere. Do you remember like at what phase of life that happens when you get introduced to this?
This is like before I was 10 years old. So
okay.
Yeah, this is you talking about 7, 8 in this range.
All right, so
9 maybe.
So I guess what happens after you see the movie? Like, how does that impact you then?
So now, so remember I was saying earlier when I would listen to my mom's get ready for work, she would listen to BLS. That's an R&B station. So one of the groups at the time that was going crazy was New Edition. Everybody knows who New Edition is. New Edition is in Crush Groove, which is why my mother took me to see Crush Groove, because New Edition was in it. And you know, Dutch, you seen the movie. New Edition had that one scene in the talent show against the Fat Boys. New Edition is literally like the only R&B in that movie. Everything else is hip hop. So I'm going there to see New Edition, and then I see
all this hip hop.
And I'm like, at this point, yo, word up. People want to talk about swag. Let's talk about it real quick. Run DMC and Crush Groove was the coolest rapper MC you ever seen in your life. And when you see the movie, you're going to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Back then he was wild cool. It's so funny because now I'm watching he has like a sitcom on fucking Netflix. Like where he like kind of like portrays like his life almost, but like loosely. But his real life wife is his wife on the show, right?
Crazy.
And it's super not cool.
From him.
You know, but it's crazy because it's like,
Run.
He got the age in hip, but he got the age in hip hop, and that's a beautiful thing within itself. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But facts, he was cool as shit back then. Back then, he like that was like the pinnacle of cool. Like you see him and you
Run
like,
DMC.
oh my God, look at this
Run
cool ass
DMC,
shit.
yo.
Look at how he's
So-
wearing his sneakers. Nobody's doing that. Like
Come on,
look at
the
that. Look at that
shell-toe
leather
Adidas,
jacket.
no
That leather
laces,
jacket looks so
the
fucking
track
cool.
suits with the
And then
fedoras and the leather
yeah, and then the
coat. Come
fedoras,
on, bro.
the hats are
Come
so
on,
fucking
man.
amazing. Like that shit was
Yo,
cool. It was cool.
Holden, that shit changed my life, yo. That shit
And you
changed
got to
my life,
understand too is that like what it is that they were kind of like pioneering looking cool and regular, because up until that point, like hip hop was like very like leaving the 70s, and so like you had a lot of like dressing up like the way that the old funk and disco and soul bands like would dress up. You know what I mean? So like a lot of those groups like at the
I've seen some of them really early 80s videos.
They dressed like, you know, almost like WWF, like it's a show, like
it was
like
flamboyant.
Like
it was wildly flamboyant.
And when Run DMC comes along, they're pioneering the everyday man guy from New York City, like just rapping and being cool and just rapping in jeans and a leather jacket and a, you know, or a
tracksuit or whatever.
You know, like
regular
like,
wears, everyday
like
casual wears.
But not like, you know, like looking like he said, like one of the village people, not dressing up like you're like one of the village people and shit, you know? So like that was part of what made them cool, you know? It was like they were pioneering like the streets of New York City being represented in the music.
Yeah, that's serious though. And I mean like you can hear people like talk about it, but it's interesting to just see how impactful it can be to watch a movie like that and then see all this shit for the first time, being like 8, 9 years old, coming in, going from New Edition to that, man. That I can kind of picture how it would slap, man. At my age, it was
crazy. What? You talk about slap? What? Bro, it was, yo, you leave the theater, you invigorate, like, you like, yo. Yeah. And then, now, mind you now, in the 80s, this is the era of big boom boxes in the streets, radios that's like bigger than big screen TVs right now, bro. So you leaving the movie theater now, and oh shit, I hear Run DMC over there. Yo, it's like hip hop was encompassing everything during the 80s in New York City. You couldn't escape it. You couldn't escape it. And it was being sort of kind of policed by the powers that be. So it had a rebellious thing to it. So that made it even more of a draw for us. Like, oh, they don't want us listening to this shit?
Yeah. I remember that being that feeling, you know, like where it's just like, I remember when my older brother came back from the Navy, and my older brother was the one that put me on the hip hop, right? But like he comes back from the Navy, like being away for a year, and I have like the OPP single, and like he tells my parents what like OPP stands for, and they're like, "Oh my God, make a big deal about it." They take away my OPP like tape, and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Like my brother went from being the cool guy to being the snitch, bitch.
How you a square now?
Like,
how
fuck you?
Word.
That's amazing.
Word. Hip hop is how we differentiated our era from anybody that was before us, yo. That was it. Either, if you with it, you with us.
We were born to a hip hop generation. Like when people talk about hip hop culture, like I'm like, I don't think that like it gets explored enough as a conversation. And I'm gonna try to make this short, right, quick, right? But like I think that it's hard to say it's a culture in other places. I think that New York City is really the only place that like actually like is like the culture here is hip hop culture. Like that is the culture of the city and of the people. But like in other places, it's not a hip hop culture thing as much as it's like their regional culture. Like in New Orleans, it's a New Orleans culture. It's not like hip hop culture. It's like the New Orleans culture influences the hip hop that comes out of New Orleans, right? But it's not hip hop culture. You know what I mean?
Yo, I talked to a guy in New Orleans. I think that New York
City is really the only place that, because we established hip hop, and so it became a part like of what the city is and the way that we speak and the way everything, you know? But like other places, they're not really like that. They're more of like their local regional culture than they are like a hip hop culture. They don't know what it's like to like walk down the street and see like some B-boys on the corner and then like see another group of dudes like ciphering not far from them. Like they don't know, like, you know, that's some shit that we were privileged to have grown up seeing, because, you know,
It's like
it's
super
hip-hop.
nifty just to like jump off of that. As I'm talking to a guy who grew up not in like one of the bigger New Orleans places, not New Orleans, Louisiana, but somewhere else in Louisiana, and he was saying like, I don't remember what it was called, but there's basically this whole other wave that effectively played the role that hip hop played, but it's just around other musical genres. And when you really run it, most regions just kind of had a parallel to hip hop, but it wasn't actually hip hop, right? It was just their own version of it. But then we all kind of like get this idea of hip hop culture. I'm gonna say KRS-One did a lot to push the narrative of hip hop culture as a community, almost in this religion. If you ever read the Gospel of Hip Hop, it's very religion-y, and I think that spread the notion of the hip hop culture everywhere a lot more than actually thinking about the inception. Because I thought I understood it until I'm talking to you and you're like, bro, like I walked outside and the speakers are this big. I'm like, bro, I walked outside and there was no speakers that big. Like I never had it up where I'm at.
Yo,
they had
bro,
other experiences.
I'm 6'3". I don't walk, you know, Dutch for them for certain block parties. Yo, them joints is like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, 7 feet tall. But big, like hip hop kind of was like the birth of like taking like stage show level like production to like the people, you know, like you had speakers that like essentially you would have at like a concert in the hood, you know, like, so it's just different.
Yo, would you guys mind if we continue this while I'm packing the van? I'm gonna pay attention. I'm still with you.
You may absolutely do that, my man.
All right.
Oh, bro.
So, Hulk, can I show them the inside real quick? Would y'all like to see the pack real quick?
Of course.
Yeah, show us.
Hold on.
Absolutely.
All right. Hold on.
It's actually
so we got
cool.
We got.
Say word.
There we go.
That's fucking amazing.
85.
So organized.
85 bags. So I'm gonna take these now. We're gonna throw them in the back of the van for tomorrow. And then we're gonna head out to, the housing situation and go give 85 elderly people some joy.
Word, yo. That's so dope.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready. I'm gonna set this up outside. All right. So I got you on my Wi-Fi, my Bluetooth, so I can hear y'all.
Yeah. The people, they're with us. We're all on the go.
So it's like we said, man. It's like, what are we even gonna say about that? You bringing joy to people, like.
Yeah, you know.
All right, so I got it. Holden? Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
All right. This is serious now. You ready for this one?
Yes.
Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart? Who's better?
I mean, I'm a Shawn Michaels fan on Attitude, but I don't know enough about Bret Hart.
I mean, like for me, I'm a Hart family guy because I was a Blue Blazer fan. I was a Blue Blazer fan,
bro. I mean,
that was Owen, right? That was Owen.
That was yeah.
Like Bret, it's all right, but like I don't know. There's something about like the sharpshooter as a finishing move when I was young that was not appealing. I don't know why, but submission moves weren't appealing to me when I was younger. And then there's the theme songs, right? When you found out that Shawn Michaels sings his own theme song, and it's theme song, I don't know.
The one after Sensational Chef, Scary Sherry was doing it, right?
Yeah, like the one like I mean, I know the one where it's like, I think I'm cute, I know I'm sassy. Like that's shit.
That put him over the top. That put it over the top for you.
But it was also the attitude. He's also a high flyer. Like he's not like, and that shit was always appealing to me. Like Jeff Hardy ended up being like the guy I was rooting for when I really got into wrestling.
That's why I was into the Blue Blazer, because the Blue Blazer was like he was flipping all over the place and just
So if I have to pick, it's kind of like I'll take a lucha libre style mid-sized high flyer dude over like
the mat technician. Okay, and I ain't mad at that.
But like as I got older, I kind of have a lot more respect for what Bret Hart brings to the table.
Why so? What did your impressions of wrestling change, and did that make it?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. My best friend is debatably he started a wrestling blog to document the Chinese wrestling's independent scene because nobody else was doing it, and brought them to Canada to lube up their visas to try to get them to the States, but then some fuckery happened. So like my best friend is that deep with it, and so by osmosis of his obsession, I know as much about wrestling as I ever need to hold my own in a wrestling conversation with real fucking super fans, even if I don't always know what's up.
Dope.
And
Do you enjoy wrestling? Do you enjoy wrestling not the same, but as much as when you first introduced into it?
I think I appreciate it way more now. Way more. Because I understand it now.
Right. Okay. What do you
Like,
think about the direction right now?
I don't really watch it that much, but I hear AEW is ridiculous. It's appealing to the old school fans. The WWE is doubling down on the young ones because that's what they got. Apparently, AEW, New Japan, TNA are all rumored to team up to do some next level shit together. And
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I told you I could hold my own without watching this shit. But like,
no diggity.
So yeah, because that side really fascinates me. Like the business of the wrestling world. Because if you look at battle rap, you look at wrestling, you look at local hip hop scenes.
Thing.
It's almost like you have to see what works there. And the more I do that, the more I'm trying to like employ and it's all because of this show, fuck. Because I didn't know who fucking battle rappers were before this show, right? So started creating these parallels, and yeah, no, all of it kind of ties into it. So yeah, I like wrestling. In theory,
yeah,
more
me too.
than
I
ever.
grew up on it, bro. Grew up on it.
But I did. My dad used to get WWF pay-per-view tapes, and we'd watch those when I was young. I never like watched it live or anything. We'd just watch pay-per-view tapes. Yeah, that's my answer to your wrestling question.
So let's pick up where we left off, right? So
you watched a movie, Crush Groove.
Crush Groove. That's what got you into hip hop, right? And that was like around before 10. But like, what's the journey like between there and like, you know, like getting going?
Now that point is literally when I'm a fan. This is no artistry. This is all fan mode.
Little
kid, man. So you just growing up, and you know now you start to pick out the favorites and all of this stuff. And it wasn't until I got into maybe high school, like maybe right before high school, going into high school, and I was like, yo, now I want to do this show because I'm meeting people that rap. Oh, ironically, beautiful hip hop story. I went to graphics high school, in Midtown Manhattan.
I know where this is going. Go ahead.
This is some of hip hop's most legendary artists attended this school, and at the same time, me and Fats went to school. That's when me and Fats met, by the way. My partner that I wound up putting my music out with. We met at graphics.
The Circle is very great music.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. We went to school with boot camp, like Smith and Wesson and them. They was like a few years before us. Helter Skelter and them. They was like 2 or 3 years before us, something like that. Sticky Fingers from Onyx went to that school.
Did you go with? Because I feel like this sounds like either Swave or Penn. Did any of them like end up there? Did you meet any of the homies now? There.
Swave went to. I think Swave went to King. He said, which was literally right up
King,
the way, like a
King.
A stop or two away.
King. He went to King.
Everybody went to Park West for summer school, so I'm sure I bumped into some of them for summer school, and that's down the block. So yeah. I didn't meet them in that capacity, but we were in proximity. You know what I'm saying?
Who is there anybody else in the underground that like you might not like? You know, it's not the family, but like they were also in school around the same time as you.
Right now, not right now. Those are names that come to mind. It's probably a few, and if there's, I'll definitely get back to you on that.
I mean, it can't be like
while we
that.
talk, it might come out.
it can't be that like these are people that you weren't in school, like, right? Like, I think that you are like essentially contemporary with Sticky Fingers, no, in age, like so, like y'all might have been in school at the same time.
He got us by like if he was a senior, we were freshmen. Like it's
okay,
like that.
But there we go, exactly.
Like
so then, but then that's better because like Swizz Beats was the same thing with me. Like he was a senior as I'm a freshman, you know what I mean? But like that I still was in school with Swizz Beats at the same time,
right.
technically
That's
speaking.
it.
Yeah. Okay. So Sticky and who else?
So you got Sticky, Ruck and Rock, Tech and Steel, Strang from OGC, like all of boot camp. Like I would see Buckshot from Black Moon. I would see him up there. Like, you know, it was at graphics, it was rappers and Decepticons. You know what that means.
Yeah. I do.
That's what it was.
Holden has gotten to know it like a little bit through, because like Penn put him on to the Decepticons. I think Swave also talked about it. A lot of, you know, but like you can absolutely delve into it a little bit, you know, I mean, from your perspective of it, you know?
Basically in the 80s, New York didn't really like, 70s was a big gang era for New York City. You know, things happened, quieted down, but in the 80s, we had D-Steps, we had Low Lives, we had D-Steps, we had a few more, but D-Steps was out there. And they pretty much ran the streets. They was like the most notorious gang out for a certain amount of time. Not gonna say the whole 80s, but for a few years there, you ain't want to mess around with them, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I was in school with a bunch of those and a bunch of rappers. We ain't gonna go no more than that. We leave it right there.
Bro, I'm very fine with right that. There. I'm never one to pride on that path, man. I'm just like, listen, you went to school with rappers I've heard of. That's fucking cool.
Like I said, Ruck and Rock. Let me say that correctly. Rest in peace, Sean P. That's Ruck. For everybody that don't know who Ruck is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Helter Skelter. Sean Price and Rockness Monster.
Shouts to Rock too.
So
shouts to Rock.
If I understand correctly, though, you're surrounded by a bunch of greatness in its inception forms, and this allows you to, via like the circumstances, to go, I want this. More than like, what's cool about that is, it's a little different from other people. Is most people I find are inspired by like a famous person or some shit like that. You're like, nah, I saw people doing this and I wanted to do this. And that to me is fucking a nifty, again, like kind of a standout thing that I didn't hear as often as you might think.
Man, now mind you now, so this is like freshman year high school, right? Now this is prior to all of them putting out their first albums. So me and Fats always share this memory, like when we be kicking it. Like I remember like straight out of the movies. I remember coming out of class, you know, walking down the hallway, boom, we going to class, whatever, walking past a crowd, you thinking it's a fight or something, doing all this, and inside the crowd, dudes is right. My first time seeing a cypher, rapping. Oh, snap. Bro, that was Tech and Steel. One of them. I know Steel was there. I don't know if Steel was rapping, but Tech and Steel was there. So one of Smith and Wesson was there in the hallway. Yeah, like rapping. And I'm like walking past, seeing that. And then you seeing these faces every day. Next thing you know, you looking at the TV video, and it's like, yo, hold up. Wait a minute. I know I didn't just see. Oh, wow.
Wow, like I go to school with a guy that's like fucking signed. Like if he can do it, I can do it, you know?
There you go. There's the inspiration right there. Literal transference of the energy. Like, oh snap. I was in the movie theater a few months ago and I saw that, and a few years ago and I saw that, and oh snap, I was in school with him yesterday. Him right there on the TV. Yo, I gotta figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
That's it.
So how do you
15,
16-year-old in New York at that time, without the internet and probably without a whole bunch of guys going, here's exactly how to do it, my friend. How does one do it?
You find the person that's doing it. So I it took a while. Like I'm talking about from this is beginning of high school. So now this is a more story fodder. I get kicked out of this high school and go to another high school, and then it's in my second high school. That's when I start seeing the rappers that's right next to me now. And now we get into the beating on the school table at lunchtime. It's like, oh snap, son rap. Oh snap, he rap. Oh, his uncle is nice. Oh, his uncle got a song out. Cool. Now let me go to his crib. Let me go around his way. Now I'm saying, and now you start seeing people that you walk in to their neighborhood and oh, what's up? And while you standing there saying what's up to them, somebody coming around, yo, what up, yo, son, I want to battle. All right, meet me around the corner. I'll be over there in 5 minutes. What y'all about to do? What? Okay, so that's how that happened. Y'all about to rock. You about to right now? Yo, I'm gonna come with you. Then you start seeing it, and once you start seeing hip hop in action, bro, you gonna get it. You gonna catch the bug. It's undeniable.
Yeah,
it's undeniable.
Yeah. Nah, it's a fact.
Now I'm saying you're gonna once you, because you talking streets now.
Think about the fact that everybody that we talk to, right? Like that's the commonality that we all have in common, right? Even you, Holden, right? Like think about it. Like you bitten by the bug.
Yeah, I got bit by the bug long time ago.
As soon as you hear it for the first time, anytime in these generations that we've been born in, when people hear it for the first time, it hit everybody the same way. Like, oh my God, this is the greatest shit I've ever fucking heard.
Like, what is this?
What is this?
Word up.
It just transcends to me. But yeah, it's an amazing thing. But it's cool the way you like broke it down though with that like progression, because something I find a lot happens in life is people will like ask, how do you find people? How do you figure it out? How do you actually do it? And it's always the same thing. You got to go outside, go to where people are, and then inevitably, by random circumstance, you find the person you're looking for. And it's...
Now, you see what you just said right there, Holden? You see what you just described? You just described the major difference between my era and the current era that we live in. I don't want to build no connection through this. Like, after this, I already know Flacko. That's my man. I know how to reach him. After this, I'm gonna figure out a way so you and I could connect, and that's just more. That's more than this. Cause I'm from the era where for it to be real and for me to get it, I gotta be able to
I gotta breathe the same air.
Yeah,
I gotta touch
I gotta see you. I gotta look in your eyes.
See you, feel you. Yeah, I mean, I still have that, right? I gotta
say something to you and see your. I gotta see how your body react to me saying certain things. I gotta see how you act when you say something to me that you ain't uncomfortable with, that you're not comfortable with. You can't do none of this over the TV, over this. Like, this is where all of the posturing comes from, and this is why people have certain incorrect assessments of themselves, because they so free and protected by this. It was so much more genuine and real when I'm like, yo, what you say, bro? What? Who you talking? Like, you can't do that here and it be effective. That's the main difference. People think that they establish genuine shit through this era, and it just don't work like that, yo. You gotta keep, like, we human beings, we built on connectivity. We not built on this artificial, yo. We flesh and blood, yo. Know what I'm saying? Like, that's why hip hop resonate with niggas like that, because it's feeling. The culture is a feeling. Like,
you need to experience it in a group setting. It's not like it is a thing that you could do all by yourself, right? But it is like also one of those things that like is way more effective when mixed with a group setting. You know what I mean? Like
the energy, like, your energy build with his energy build with y'all energy build with their energy. Next thing you know, the whole place violent, and we just having a ball.
Yeah, there's nothing like I was recently in the clubhouse room having a discussion with like the battle rappers, and they were expressing their displeasure for like what Lupe was saying about the MC challenge, and they felt a certain way about it, but like what I was like hearing is, I'm just like, yo, they were talking about the feeling that you get when you get a whole room to like go in an uproar, and I'm just like, yeah, it's literally the same feeling that the MC challenge, like, or that performing on a stage, your music, it's being able to control or like to have a big group. It's just powerful in general to be able to see a lot of people do the same thing at the same time. And that's what hip hop performing does, is it makes everybody react in the same way, kind of like when you go to a movie theater, right? And you see a movie with like people like when I went to the movies to see Endgame, and like Captain America picks up Thor's hammer, and it's just like, I'm not the type of guy that I react the way that other people react in movies, and even I reacted like everybody else reacted at that moment, because it was like battle rap.
It was a moment. It was a moment. It was a historical Hollywood
moment.
And
to experience that moment with other people in a theater, like, I'm so happy that I got to have that experience. You know what I mean? Because it's better to be like experienced in a group setting than by myself at home. It might not have hit the same way if I would have experienced it for the first time at home instead of in the movie theater with a bunch of other people, you know. And hip hop is like that. It's like it's a group sport, and like it's a group setting thing. And the more that you experience in the group setting, the more that you like learn to love it.
Even just like outside of like the hip hop realms, like I love what you just said too, right? Like I've met a lot of people on the internet recently in my life, and they've never met me in my real life, and I'm like, I don't know if you like me. You might think you like me because you see this person I put on the internet, but I'm like a little more sulky off cam. You know what I mean? Like it's like you don't actually know me right now. Like you're seeing a version of me that is probably like I do not smile this much off cam. I promise. Like that kind of shit. So it's like, I'm like hearing what you're saying, and I'm like, yo, people really be acting like they're like best friends on some internet shit, where I'm like meeting people now, and I'm like, bro, I never met you in real life. Like, hold up, we've talked, like maybe we were like hung out one time. Like, hold your horses a little bit. Let's ease into this a little bit, you know? Like, so I hear what you're saying a lot, and I think that's a very fascinating point.
And I think it is also because nowadays you have more people that like grew up on the internet. So they never got to have, they live in places where like the personal interaction maybe is a little bit more rural, and you don't come across it as much. And so like for them, internet friendship is like all that they know, and they kind of don't know how to move like at a real speed. I mean, like I have a lot of people that I'm cool with online, right? And I make it an issue to really try to meet them. Like I've met a majority of the people that like I'm cool with on the internet, because I'm like, yo, let's go link up. Look, Holden, immediately we start working together. What do I tell you? What do I invite you to do? I'm like, yo, my guy, you should come to New York City. You know what I mean? Like I got your back. Like you come here, I'm gonna take you to eat good, you know. But it's also like you wanna like
meet
exactly
person.
What Slim said.
Like meet the person. Yeah,
we want to meet the person.
Like, honestly, I'm like sitting there going, all right, how am I gonna get to New York? I mean, at some point I gotta meet Flacko in real life. But it's like, even to like where I was going with it initially, it's just like, yo, people be constantly talking about how they're gonna find some shit to me, and so I start asking like everybody, every single person, how did you find that insert blah bleep blue bleep thing I might care about? And it's always, I went into the real life world and I interacted with human beings and shit. And I say that because even like anecdotally, right, I was having some trouble until I started showing up at shows. And guess what? You go to one show, you're going to meet like 40 people that are all rappers and shit. And they're all, people will remember you that you showed up at that one show 2 years later when you're trying to work out some shit. And I'm like, oh, that's it. Just fucking leave your house sometimes and magic will happen, you know? So I fucks with what you're saying a lot. But okay, so let's go back to you though. You're basically like in the midst of you're watching people blow up a little bit around you, hit the TV screens. You start running through it all. You start getting ingratiated into the realms of hip hop as it exists around you. Do you start battling folks and whatnot in the streets then? Is that what I'm to take from this?
Not yet. It took a while before I got there.
All right, that's fair.
At this point is now I'm getting I'm getting the courage to say, all right, I'm gonna try this. And this is, now you're talking about early 90s now. Like, and this is when it's, if you were into hip hop and a teenager in the early 90s, I guarantee you wrote a rhyme. That's just what happened to all of us.
You did what?
And that's what happened to me. You wrote a rhyme. I wrote my first rhyme
right.
during that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was, and this also, you talking about now, this is when Nas, Biggie, Wu, before that, Onyx, J. Rue the Damager. You like, it's like East Coast is doing work. And the first rumblings from Death Row started coming out at that time. So like early 90s, like 91, 92. It's funny, you mentioned OPP. Naughty was killing early 90s at the time.
Naughty by Nature was killing the 90, 91 area.
So that's when, you know, that's when all of this, you talking about the most legendary albums in ever. So that happened. And once Wu came out, it was over. I seen Wu-Tang, I was like, all right, I'm rapping. That's it. I'm rapping. I'm going for it.
That's amazing. So how does one go for it?
You start entering open mic so back then, you could enter open mic easy. Like you just sign up for it. You go to a club and sign up for it. Go to somebody else. Go to a party anywhere in club. Sign up for it. I was doing open mics. Started doing showcases. This is when I was trying to get signed to a major also as well. So the process was a little bit different. Like we spent a lot of money, me and Fat spending a lot of money on studio time, making demos, pitching them, taking meetings from people, that type of shit. So it was,
this is all like, you're just out there grinding, trying to find like the right people, showing up, handing out your stuff.
You know, and working a full-time job too, by the way, like working a full-time job. So like, you know, going to work and then in your spare time, trying to connect with the people, going to the shows. It was certain clubs you can go to back then where you knew it was hip hop. We had hip hop clubs. We had Tunnel. We had Speed. We had Palladium at certain nights. It was a few spots you can go to back then, way back. So you just trying to be in it. You know where it's at. You just trying to be in it. You want to go to a show at a club and try to get backstage to meet somebody, to see somebody, to rap for them. Like it's that type of grind. So your whole existence is consumed with trying to get put on. I'm gonna get put on. Somebody gonna see me and sign me.
Yeah, serious, eh? Because I guess that's it.
So,
like you don't, there isn't really. I mean, I guess at that time, there's not a lot of other options in terms of.
At that time, there are no other options. Yo, ain't no independence at that time, yo.
Yep.
Like,
Facts.
Ain't no independence at that time. That's it, yo.
Yeah, I had just finished having a conversation with a homie of mine where I was talking about, like, back in the days, the reason that a lot of the guys would, like, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, like, when the 90s guys came in, the reason that it was kind of quiet for them is because, like, back then there was no independent. Like, it looked bad, essentially, in the eyes of the public to be independent. Like somebody like Rakim,
you were
Big
a failure.
Daddy Kane.
If you were independent, you were a failure. You couldn't make it in the mainstream.
Exactly. So it was just like, nah. So like they kept on waiting for like big deals to come around. And it's just like, well, but now we got young acts that they're signing that are being really successful. Like they're not even looking for an older hip hop act. Like that didn't even exist back then because it was so fresh
and there was no overseas market, no overseas market for us, none of that, yo.
Yeah. And so they didn't even know what to do, you know, so that's why you would have like a situation where like maybe sometimes some of those old school MCs, like you'd hear them years later and maybe felt like they sounded like they lost a step because like they didn't keep on doing it because they stopped being signed, you know? But like nowadays, like that doesn't really happen. Like guys like Method Man are like rapping into their like into their older age and shit, you know? Like this is their career and they make a living off of it. And you get to see like an older man, like, you know, still rapping at like a high level and shit like that. And it's still like something that sells. But like back then, that didn't exist like that, you know. So like that's why sometimes those guys would like you'd hear them and they'd lose a step, you know, because they didn't keep that like blade sharp, you know.
Yo, Dutch, can I interject a little bit there too? Let me add this. Also, that's when the narrative, at the time it was true, but this narrative ran for way too many years and then decades as well. This is where the narrative of hip hop being a young man's game was created during those times.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that was when the record label started seeing
narrative, eh?
Narrative.
There's a big time narrative, because they still push it right now.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. I feel that.
And it's been proven that it's not, you know, because if it was a young man's game, Jay-Z wouldn't be as successful as he is in this stage of his career.
Like Freddie Gibbs popped off old. Like he's late 30s.
2 Chainz popped off old. Like there's a lot of rappers
like Jay-Z and DMX are what, 27?
The Griselda guys aren't like young bucks.
No, they're like early 30s when they pop off.
That's part of like, exactly. So like, you know, like the point is that and you see success of a lot of these rappers now in their old age. And like I said, Jay-Z being a prime example of it. Like Jay-Z keeps on blazing a trail for everybody, you know?
Absolutely.
And like essentially the older that he gets, and the more relevant he stays as he gets older, it sets a precedence and an example that it can be done for other guys. Like what we said with Slim, where he sees Tech and Steel in his school freestyling. He's like, you know what? Like if you in my school, you right here, you could do it. I could do it.
I could do it too.
Jay-Z's old and being dope and relevant, and it's like it sets the precedence to other people. Like, yo, you could do it. I could do it. You know?
Honestly, though, it does. I like listening to like old guys rapping about old, especially when they rap about like some really like 50-year-old shit, and you're like, bro, I never thought about that because I'm not 50.
Yeah.
All right, but that's where the teaching is supposed to come. And remember, it was always supposed to be about each one teach one. So it got lost a little bit, but like you just said, if the elders are allowed to speak, then the jewel can be passed down to the next generation, which is why it's such a fucked up narrative to say hip hop is a young man's game. Well, yeah, when hip hop was 10 years old, of course. We were all 10 years old. Hip hop ain't 10 no more.
Yeah, exactly.
Hip
hop a grown man now.
Hip hop a grown ass man. Hip hop a grown
ass man. Like, you gotta get out there. You gotta work, baby.
But it's like,
But I think that's where that comes in, right? Like, sorry, Holden, I'm handing right over. But like, I think that's where the narrative comes in. It's that, you know, like they want to set it as that, and so therefore, like,
there's also this like idea that gets really pushed where nobody above the age of 25 gives a shit about music. There's a lot of science when I was younger that would push this narrative. And then Spotify came and taught me that a lot of 50-year-olds are discovering hip-hop and Flux with auto-tune and a lot of shit. Like, you'd be surprised. They're like, yeah, well, I have the Spotify on and I heard the song. And because it got really easy for old people to find new music, I'll be honest, it did have to get easier because old people are not willing to put the effort in to find new music.
No patience.
But destroy the barrier to entry and give them an algorithm that like feeds them new shit, and they will listen to your new song if it shows up on their new shit. Like, absolutely. Like, they'll just be like, I like this. And I have like, because everyone at my day job knows I rap and shit. So everybody that discovers a rap song over the last 8 years has come up to me and told me, and bro, it's all these old people. Old people love discovering new rap songs. They want to, check out this deep jazz fusion New York, like, you know, that kind of shit. But then it'll also be like mainstream shit, like, you listening to 2 Chainz, you know, like you have that moment right next to it, and it's amazing to see. So it's like, not only is it an old man's game, but, and this is across all genres, the consumer is now everyone. Like Spotify's 19% of people on Spotify are above the age of 55. I didn't even know that till last week.
I mean, it makes sense, you know, like credit cards and shit, you know.
Right.
Young people will fuck up a credit card fast and not give a fuck, you know. Like old people, like, I gotta pay my bills, you know.
Old people just like to sync shit up to their car and let it play. You know, like
Let it rock.
Awesome.
Leave me alone while I drive.
But so that's dope. So you're shopping around all the demos and shit. You're going around, and how does that like play out for you guys? Like actually releasing mixtapes and doing shit like that, or how does it demos? Like how?
We did it. My fault. My apologies. That
No,
Good.
you go.
we released a few demos, a few mixtapes before our official album was the one we released on Viper, the 360 deal. But we put out a teaser project, an official teaser project, but it was a mixtape. Prior to that, we put out 2 unofficial mixtapes, and we recorded like 2 demos. So that's 4 or 5 projects before my official debut.
Yeah, that's work though, and I like to emphasize
Plenty
that
of work.
too, because I feel like something that happened in the modern era is the shit that you didn't get documented maybe as well as the one album I could find for the circle that was super easy to find, but everything else that you just mentioned, it's not super easy to find. So when hip hop got documented and a bunch of people everywhere else found it, they found what got like put out, but nobody got the mixtapes. Nobody got all this shit that existed in great abundance that also was part of the grind. So this message wasn't like transmitted as much. So the fact that, and that sounds like it took you a long time to like really,
Bro.
not just like 5 projects, but like that came out in 2011 according to Spotify. And you're saying
we dropped that in 2011.
You're starting this shit in the late 90s, mid to late 90s?
90s, bro. My official first paid studio session was in 1999. And I was doing it years before that. But my official, like, I'm going to the studio, I'm going to make a record, or we about to get signed. We felt like we had did everything else. We had did all of the groundwork, the footwork. We did the showcases. We did this. We done sat in meetings with people. We sat in certain meetings with certain high-level labels. I won't go into all that, but certain high-level labels. And, we were literally told, I'm going to try to get it verbatim. We were literally told by an exec, I'll tell you off air, Flacko, I'll tell you off air who this is. You'll laugh when I tell you. He said, yo, I love y'all music. I listen to this in my car, but they're not trying to do this at the company. This is what the guy that's here to sit and listen and sign hip hop is telling us.
That's serious though.
And that album is the album. Most of the
that
songs
you put out on Viper.
Most of those songs are the songs that you heard on the 360 deal.
You know what's amazing about that project? It sounds good today. Because I didn't hear it back then. I only heard it in July 2021. And I'm like sitting there going, yo, this is nice. This fucking sounds good.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. We put some, that was, the mindset was, and I told you the time frame that you're talking about, right? Our mindset was, this might be our only one, yo. So we swinging for the fences. Yeah, everything we got, we throwing it there.
There's a saying, right? Like your first takes your whole life to make your first album.
There you go. And like it's in between the white lines.
We all like that first one is really like, hold on, everything before this was play.
That's serious.
This is the first real one.
That's like a decade of just like grinding it out and like just pushing shows and
bro, I'm over 20 years in the music industry, bro. Over 20 years. I'm over 20 years. And if I have a hit record tomorrow, practically 95% of the people that'll be open and popping because of that record, they would just have heard it literally when that record goes big. That's just how it is. That's the game we play.
But that's like, and I like that you said that again, man, because I'm really into like finding like the real knowledge of this shit. Like, yo, I'm 33. I've been in this for about 10 years now. Like you start asking yourself big time questions. Like, is it worth it?
You cannot do this if you're doing it for money, accolades, or fame. You have to do this for the love, because that's the only thing that's gonna keep you from doing it. When you keep getting doors shut in your face, when people kept telling you, nah, your sound ain't right, your look ain't right, nah, you and your man, y'all too old, or nah, your lyrical content is too complicated. Like, I done heard everything that your favorite rappers, that the story that Dave told, I've heard all that shit. Dumb it down. Change your look up. Put on some tight jeans. Shave your goatee because you got, or if you don't want to dye your goatee, shave it all. All of this shit. We done heard all of that. We done heard all of that, bro.
Somebody said shave your goatee?
Nigga said they told me because it makes me look old because you can see the grays in my joint. I'm like, well, considering the content that I talk about and the message and the seriousness and how I want people to take my shit, I say, yeah, I want to be known as a mature MC. I'm not no little kid. I'm a grown ass man, yo. I have a little kid for a child. I'm a grown man. So I'm not one of these dudes that's tripped out over their age. Like, I'm 45 at the end of this year, bro. And I'm nice. I'm still nice. I tear one of these young boys apart, yo. If we had to go there. So I'm not one of these dudes that trip out.
So that's why I like doing this, because yo, at a point, like, it's hard to find the truth of what it is to be in this game. And the other side of it is you're 20 years deep, you're still doing it, you have a whole thing set up, you literally going and making old people's lives better and shit. Yo, when I see that, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes more sense. That's it. That's the beauty.
I'm gonna show y'all the back of this. I'm gonna show y'all the back of this truck. We almost done.
That's amazing.
I've been slacking right now. I'm only holding the bags. I normally be packing. Slacking right now. I'm getting, and I got a dirty look. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
We appreciate you being here with us, though, for real.
Because, nah, it's all good, bro. This is dope. It's helping the time pass. Definitely helping the time pass.
But yeah, it's just inspiring to hear all of this too. So you put in all this work. How do you get connected to it? I'll be honest, I didn't know what Viper Records was until I fucking went to the website today. That was the first time I really ever thought about the name of that. So how do you get connected to Viper Records and all that?
Now that is where Big Brother Poison Pen comes in, because me and Pen, we from Brooklyn, and we had mutual friends at a job I was working at back in probably 98, 99, around that time. And when I found out, who he was, whatever, I was working with Breeze Everflowing at the job at the time. Breeze is another independent legend in New York City.
Yeah, we had the pleasure of talking to him.
We had the pleasure of interviewing both them gentlemen. You know what I mean?
Those are the big bros. Those are the big bros right there.
So it's beautiful to hear you connect the pieces.
There you go. So, and Breeze was at this time, Breeze was actually blowing up on Funkmaster Flex's what was that shit called? DFX on MTV. It was a freestyle show that he had.
Yeah.
So Breeze was the running champ for however many weeks in a row at the time. So once again, my real life intersects with my dreams. It's like, oh wow, this nigga is on MTV every day. All right, so so now me and Penn talking, and me and Penn doing all this stuff, and me and Penn is connecting. We getting closer. So Penn is how all right. What about these right here? Always leave it. So Penn is the reason I stopped trying to chase a mainstream dream and I started doing an independent situation, because that's what Penn was doing. Nah, son, you don't get nobody your money, son. Nah, son, you're not Penn. So
I already know. So I'm smiling.
He doing all of that. So I'm like, all right, this how we doing it. Oh, it's an independent grind. We could do it like this. Okay. Then that's how you fast forward, you meet Tech. And now you go through a different sort of process now, because Tech is already on by this point. He already doing this thing. He already touring. He already making a super name. I think at this point, Volume 2 is out. So Dance with the Devil was already a cult classic. So his second project is out now, going crazy, and we run around with this dude. So now it's the realization of, oh man, all these years I was doing X, Y, and Z. I'm actually out here with somebody doing it without the help of a label, without this. So now my whole mindset done got flipped upside down. This is why we named our album 360 Deal. I had no concept of what a 360 deal was until got with Homie, started doing a little bit of knowledge, and now we know, what that's about. So that's why we named our record 360 Deal. So, you know what I'm saying? So that was that portion. Stop trying to chase that mainstream dream and just started realizing, with the way the world had opened up over the past 15 or so years, yo, you could do it yourself now. So that's when that whole grind started. Now I'm gonna do it myself. We don't need nobody. We do it ourselves.
That's sick. So how do you like you? So how does it like go putting out the album? Like, what's that process like? Still in 2011, that's still like a pre-distro kid CD baby era.
Yeah. We ironically, we were the first artists on Viper to produce to release a digital project. Our project was digital, and we took physical copies on the road, and you could order physical copies from the label directly at the time. So we go to that side. So we were literally ahead of the game with that one, and that was part of the reason why we did the promo strategy that we did, where we released the entire teaser project of brand new music, but it was, mixtape, but it was a teaser project, all free music. We put out like 7 videos. Who puts out 7 videos on an independent project? We put out 7 videos for our shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And right now, if you look at our joints, we were filming in 4K back then. You know what I'm saying? We were filming in 4K back in 2011. So our shit, if you go to go to Napalm right now, go to Cuff the Fist right now, you'll look at that and be like, y'all didn't shoot this 10 years ago. Like, yeah, we did. Like, that's how much effort and time and blood, sweat, and tears.
You gotta stop for a second there and tell us how you be up on 4K and filming in 4K and music. How you be up on that in 2011? I didn't even know what a K was back then. I knew it. Maybe 720 was.
It was our director. All props to our director, Mark C. Like, go to any of the videos on the Circles channel, you'll see Mark C. He's the director of all of them. Napalm, Cup the Fist, Smack, Going Crazy. Right now, he's an audio visual professor at SUNY College upstate. Professor. So he does it. He told us,
schooled.
He's like, trust me, bro. He's like, he told us back then, when the TVs catch up to this, your videos are gonna look crazy.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? So in 2011, all our videos are 4K, yo.
What's his name again? Mark C?
Mark Karen Ceja. It's CARRENCEJA.
Shouts to him, yo.
May I just say, Goodtime Slim?
Blessings to him.
As a geeky person myself, of all the flexes I've heard, that's one of the best flexes I've heard, because
it ain't even mine. It's Mark's.
Yeah, but you agreed to work with him. You found the man's. You know what I mean? Like, you get to share it.
You know what? I can't even take that. Let me give some shine to my brother Hassan Salam, because Hassan Salam worked with him on his Angel Dust video, and that's where I met him at. So Hassan was actually the one that introduced us to Mark.
Okay.
Ready? But fellas, I'm actually about to start driving. We about to get out of here. How long you gonna be going on, man?
Nah, I mean, we already went for a solid minute. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
all right.
Like, you gotta go. Like totally understandable.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like you give
thank
us
you for your time.
And 40, an hour and a half easy, man. Like, that's like it's a good. Man. We appreciate you.
Man, appreciate y'all, man. Like, I'm down to do this. We could run this back next week, tomorrow, whenever. Let's go. I want to finish my story. I'm talking.
We'll definitely
big facts. Big facts. But that's a good, we got a part 2. We got a part 2 to do.
Yeah, it's really important, I think, to give that a little suspense, but also the fact that you drop so much knowledge in that is so, to me, like, anybody listening to this got tips on how to be better at what they do, in my opinion, if they were really paying attention. And for that, like, that's just amazing. It's just like you said, each one teach one. And I fucks with that
wait
philosophy.
A minute. You sure you gonna drive? All right. Actually, I don't have to drive. We can kick it. Until the signal. We in Jersey. Until the signal drop, we can roll. We can rock.
So what's it like to put out the album at that point with the digital release still?
Oh man, it was beautiful. At that point we had already been on tour nationally a couple of times. Tech actually took us abroad.
Damn, You know what? I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna interrupt you right there because I'm curious. You know what I mean? Like, what was it like your first time going on a national tour across the United States of America? Bro. And like, was that your first time leaving the city and going on the road like that, or
leaving the East Coast? First time leaving the East Coast.
Leaving the East Coast. So you had already traveled up and down the East Coast. But you still hadn't visited those middle states in the South, deep South, like that. And so, what was it? What was it like? Yeah. Tell me what that experience was like.
It was surreal because we were a group. You know, it was the Rebel Arms. It wasn't just, you know, me and Fats. It was us. So we were a collective. And you know now, mind you, I'm super duper heavyweight Wu-Tang fan. So we actually doing Rock the Bells and we bumping heads with Wu sometimes. Well, not bumping heads, but, you know, bumping into them at shows. Oh, shit, they go Math, they go Deck, Jizza, oh, snap. Sitting down and having, at Rock the Bells lunchtime, sitting next to Ghostface and Capadonna, like, eating, you know, with my laminate on. So it's surreal. You're seeing all of this stuff. Like, it's crazy because you're able to be on stage and see the people out there, but you're still able to get off stage and be a fan because you're a fan of everybody that you're performing with at some of these big festivals. Now you're going out of town and you recognized by people, like you're doing a show in a West Bubblechester, Middle America, and they know your lyrics down there. What? How you know my lyrics out here? Oh, wow. That's when it starts hitting you like, oh man, I'm a rapper for real? That's when it's like, oh, I'm a rapper. I'm really doing it. Now I quit my job and all that shit. Quit my job, went on tour for months, ate off of music for years. Like it was the life, bro. It was the life.
That's dope. That's dope on the indie tip. You know what I'm saying?
Indie tip, yo. Not having to compromise what you want to say, how you now, mind you, I told you, they already told me, shave this, sound like this, put this on. Yo, Dutch, you know how we was giving it up. Yo, fatigued out. Fatigued out. Bandanas on, Tim's on, fatigued.
Nah, I know. I already know how the family rocks. You know what I mean?
Like, so we was able to do it our way and do what we wanted. So that shit was beautiful, man. That shit was beautiful.
Yeah, that's serious. So like, what are some of the, culturally speaking, what's it like to like go to all these places though, right? Because there's one thing to just do like the show side, but now you're like outside and you're just seeing like completely different worlds.
Oh man, it teaches you something because obviously you're gonna have, everything's not gonna be rosy all the time. So you're gonna have certain dust ups and certain incidents with people, interactions with fans and stuff like that. But it teaches you that music is definitely the great unifier because you look out at a crowd, especially at Technique shows. The Technique guy, his crowd, his fan base is diverse as hell. So you looking out and seeing black, white, and every shade in between. You know what I'm saying? Oh, what we fighting for? That's what you start seeing after show, city after city, state after state, country after country. Like, yo, what we fighting for, bro? What we fighting for? Yeah. So that's what you see. Like, oh, we are different, but at our core, there's certain things that we can use to be more together. And that's what I pull from all that shit.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
That's incredible.
Yo, so can I give y'all this view real quick, bro?
Yeah. Give us the view.
Yeah. Like that didn't work, and you got
turn around the camera one more time.
Say what?
There we go. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see the Freedom Tower in the distance?
Wow.
Yep. That's the drive-in in New York City, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
coming
so
in
cool.
NY, y'all.
I mean, that's real cool. I've never seen that view before, like that perspective.
Yeah.
Just being in the car.
Yeah, that's like
thing.
I grew up with that view all the time. But like that's why I said it to you.
Inspiration? Ain't that inspiration, bro? Seeing that?
Yeah.
Man, I want to go to New York real bad. It's a big.
Pull up, yo. We got you. Pull up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nah, I booked.
Yeah, you don't even know. Like, come on, like you've been getting a bunch of.
I took a week off in November, so it's likely I'm gonna try to like line that up. It's my birthday week, so I'm gonna try to line it up for like a week down. That's viable. Not book anything. Just come down, you know. Fuck it. Or like not book anything, interview, none of content. Fuck that, and just go down for like a week. I could probably pull.
I got a red carpet for you. You know what I mean?
Yo, and I'm right there, and I'm holding the red velvet rope.
Yo, I appreciate
you know
that.
What
You know what I mean?
Nah, I mean, for me, it's like, it's a priority. Now that the fucking border situation's not the same, we're loosier a little bit, we can start planning some shit out, you know?
Yeah.
But nah, that's really cool. I appreciate the view, for real. I appreciate. Yeah.
So, you released your experience.
Hold on, you did all that touring before the album comes out and everything? Or like in the process you released the album while you're touring and all this?
We did touring prior, for the promo, and right after. So we were hitting the road with Tech for a couple of years before we released the record.
That's powerful.
Okay.
And then you put out the record.
See, y'all building a rapport with his crowd.
We got so far as to Swiss Beach. You brought him up earlier. We got on. Sway had this. I don't know if he still has. It's called Rap Fix Live, and he would have someone from the industry come in and critique music from the independent scene or the underground scene. And we made it there. We actually sat in the MTV offices with Sway, freestyle for him. Shout out to Shaheem Reed. He hooked that up. So like we got so far as like MTV was checking us out, bro. Like they would consider putting a couple of our videos in rotation. So we got that far as the mainstream goes.
Yeah.
Yo, that's like the first time I've had somebody even say the words to me that they got to a place where MTV's considering to put their videos in rotation. Just in terms of like, that's fucking really cool. Like, I didn't even realize, like, it's one of those things you don't think about a process for or anything until somebody says it to you, for how, like, little I thought about it. That's amazing, man. And your music's incredible, so it makes sense to me. Like honestly, I was listening to it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And I'm like, yo, if this had landed on my lap at that time when it came out, I would have eaten that shit up real quick. Like, that's exactly what the fuck I was into in 2011.
Appreciate that.
Not to say that I'm not into it now, but like
that.
in that era, man, oh my fucking gosh, that was it.
All right.
Nah, it's dope.
Well, I believe that certain sounds have a time. They have a time. Like sometimes it passes and sometimes it comes back. You know, we just tried to make something that would, if it wasn't timeless, at least it represented the time properly.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely agree.
And from a content perspective, it holds up. Because that's another part of it. Sometimes the content doesn't make sense 10, 11 years later. I was like, yo, I can listen to this. It's got a fucking vibe to it. Are you able to touch on any of the things you are up to now that are, like, nifty that you could, like, share with us as we, like...
Absolutely. And I'm going to make this one brief because we're about to approach the tunnel.
Right.
Right now, currently... I'm appearing on the Easy Mo B and Big D project. I'm on a couple of songs there. I'm appearing as a character on New York Minute, the web series, Littyyy's web series. I'm a recurring character on that show. So definitely check that out. Go on YouTube, New York Minute. That's Littyy's show. It's like a crime drama.
So
I'm about to go right now.
That actually sounds like fucking, like, what is the word?
It's dope.
Nah.
It's dope. It's dope. I make my first appearance in the season 2 season finale. Season 2 season finale. I'm in the season finale. So we already shot a few scenes for the season 3 coming up. So I'm in a bunch of those. I got that. I'm doing this. Rebel Army runs with Technique and the crew. Like we spoke about earlier. And I definitely got some new music coming out, but we're going to talk about that. We talk about that in part 2.
Fucking love it, man. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for coming through. And, thank you for just, like, sharing your story and also living the life you lived, right? Like, it's pretty amazing. Your accolades are very
Facts.
like worthy of flowers and such, and just the fact that it
I appreciate that,
culminates.
bro.
Literally, it culminates to an interview full of you literally being altruistic. Not even like
Yeah, exactly.
hyperbolically.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
is
Nobody
that not
like
the ultimate symbol of this
that's
shit?
that was
Word.
it's really cool. Like everybody, like there's been like a couple different like a lot of the interviews are like people just chilling at home, right? But then there's been like some on the go and some out and about and shit, you know. But like this is the first one where like you're like doing something to like help other people and shit, you know. So it's not like you're just out and about. You're out and about, trying to help the people. So like
Trying to help a little bit, yo.
Yo,
that's
quite like
awesome.
literally doing that shit. It's pretty. So, just thanks everyone for watching. We appreciate you all being here. For real. Shout out end of the week for everything that they do because they're fucking amazing. Fucking make sure to follow them /EOWTV on all the stuff, EOW.com, all that freaking good stuff. Super amazing. Appreciate all of you in the future that are watching this and all that good stuff. Live long and prosper, everyone.